Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Super excited to be here with you on this amazing Father's Day. This is now my fourth one. Yes, now my fourth Father's Day. It's a blast. Wouldn't trade it. We had a lot of hard times getting pregnant, so being a dad truly is a miracle for us. So yeah, just super blessed. Really excited to be here with you guys today, spend time with you guys. We won't obviously be going 3 hours today, but we will go sometime. So I'm not sure exactly how long that's going to be, but we're going to go some. We're going to answer a bunch of questions, see how the turnout is, answer any questions, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, just super excited to be here. So yeah, I'm just couldn't, and I'm working on an offer. That's why I keep on looking at my phone. My agent is literally texting me now as we speak. I just signed the PNS and everything got sent off, but we're talking about kind of the building blocks of the deal. And so yeah, you'll see me look at my phone often today. So I apologize in advance, but you know the deal. Side hustles are my life. So that's kind of how it's going to go. But yeah, super excited to be here with you guys today. What I wanted to talk about kind of briefly before we jumped in was, excuse me, was just generally all of the movement in the market. And so one of the things that I think people need to be better evaluators of is who they are following, who you're following, who you're watching, who you're listening to. For me, the reason why the Three Amigos works, we're all friends now. We run ideas past each other, not just on camera to embarrass each other. And so what's really amazing is having a group of friends like that can sometimes see a different angle that I can't see, but they're active, and active is so important. I don't want to talk to the investor that hasn't bought anything in 10 years or 5 years. I want to talk to people that are actively doing it. So real quickly, here's the credentials, just in case you're first time new to the channel. Love to have you here, but want to cover that with you real quickly. 117 units, 39 buildings, 400 tenants, self-manage, started from zero, 9th grade dropout. I do gut rehabs, additions, all the way to lipstick make ready, like, paint and flooring. But that's my resume. And this week alone, I looked at 3 properties this week. I made offer on 1 property this week. Or is that? Yeah, 1. Yeah, 1 this week. Rented out 6 units in the last 4 weeks and currently going through an eviction. So I want to bring to you my experiences. You do with that data as you see fit. But what I do is I try to evaluate other people that I watch. How active are they? What are they doing? What's the role? Where can they talk about with the most expertise? So that's why I like to give the resume. It's not to brag. It's truly to tell you, this is where I'm at. This is what I'm going through. I love debate. Beth, I want to make sure that I say your name right, Beth. So I'm sorry in advance, but I want to just make sure I say your last name right. Beth Traverso. I was going to say it right. That's the good news. Had a good conversation with her yesterday. Love debate. One of the debates is, net worth versus cash flow. I think that, Mike and I did a video on it Friday. It's on my channel. I encourage you guys to watch it. Net worth is not unimportant, but it's far less important than cash flow in my eyes. I'm happy to discuss that in more detail today because I know that there were a bunch of questions on the video when I posted it. I answered most of them, I think. There were a couple of people that still would assert that only net worth matters. And I will show them one company after another that had a ton of on-paper value that blew up. It's about cash flow. As executives, as an executive for 10 years now, as a company owner for over 20 years and multiple company owners, I can tell you the value of the business does not matter on a day-to-day basis. The value of the business or the cash flow of the business is what matters. Making payroll, paying contractors, paying for materials, paying that next step. I promise you that is a far more critical metric to watch, especially when you're in growth mode, not when you're in harvesting mode or a farming mode, just kind of, chill and it's all good. But when you're in land and expand mode, so that's a terminology that I like to use, is land and expand, is I land in a market and then I expand in that market, and I land in a strategy and I expand in that strategy. So those are just some food for thought. If you guys are new to the channel, again, I'm the Lumberjack Landlord. Wanted to talk to you guys about just some of those things in general, because I think that those are areas that people miss. I have a lot of buy strategies, but I have a lot of strategies on the management side too that are very, very powerful. And that is quite frankly why almost all of my deals, I'll share some of the numbers actually. Let me share some of the numbers with you guys, because we talked about this yesterday. I talked about this with Beth. So I wanted to kind of give you guys just a real brief sampling of kind of how I look at my portfolio. So here's how I look at my portfolio. So I've invested since 01. My biggest returns on deals that I bought are from 09, 10, 11, and 12. Unmatched. The stuff that I bought before that, even in 4, 5, and 6, 04, 5, and 6, still doesn't have the returns that I bought back from then when the market was recovering. My perspective is not to be over leveraged, but to be leveraged. Enough leverage where I can really build my business with leverage, continue to recycle capital, but just as importantly is not be over leveraged so I can't sleep at night, or over leveraged so a 20% market correction puts me in the poorhouse. None of those things would happen. Far more stable at this point than I was back, 6 years in when we hit the greatest recession we'd ever seen. So to give you guys just kind of a lay of the land, 70% equity across my portfolio as the standard is, 70% LTV. That's for about 70% of my properties. The other 30% range between 10 and 50% LTV. My expenses versus cash flow across properties runs about 50%. So if I have expenses of 50 cents, then my income is $1. That's generally how I run my business. So that way I'm constantly creating massive amounts of cash. I diversified my tenant base thanks to my buddies, Mike Zuber from One Rental at a Time and Dion Talk Financial Freedom. Before I met them, I did not do anything Section 8 or Housing Authority or voucher program. And now that's probably, I think we're right around 20 to 25% of the portfolio is that now. I have seven figures, as in over $1 million, ready to deploy on these strategies. And hold on one second. Zuber just texted me. I need to bust his stones and be like, I saw this, but I'm saying I just said, that's awesome. PS, why aren't you on my live stream? And yes, this is on camera. I appreciate those guys. Love working with them. So yeah, so those are all the things. So real quickly, so just kind of wrapping that last piece up is, with these massive ratios, massive cash flows, I create a powerful growth machine and can weather significant financial storm. The risk to pulling out, we were talking about HELOCs, the risk to pulling out a HELOC now is the cost of the capital, i.e. inflation. The risk to not pulling out lines now is the line or the pulling the funds out now is the line can get shut down and you aren't able to execute through the correction. Again, just food for thought. Everybody has to make that final determination of what they feel best with and how hyper they want to grow. The guys that went to try and grow who's super hyper, guess what? A lot of them went out of business. But some of them didn't. One of the things that I talk about too is, and I kind of close out with, Dion McNeely, Dion from Dion Talk Financial Freedom. I talk about this. He has different goals. Neither is right or wrong, but each is better for the person that owns that strategy. He loves his strategy. There are parts of his strategy I love. I love my strategy. And there's parts about my strategy he loves. However, for what we are trying to do and what we're trying to accomplish, we're both very happy with our own strategies, and that's why they're our own. What I love about the three of us together is that we all did it very differently, but we all became super successful. So that said, let's jump in, start having some fun and answering some questions and changing lives with financial freedom. All right. Dividend Dave. Hello. Happy Father's Day. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you to all the dads out there. I know that I wouldn't be the dad that I am without having the wife that I have. And so I'm grateful for her, even on Father's Day. And I'm certainly grateful for my children, because without them, I would not be a father. So thanks, kids. So it's good, but thank you very much. Dion Talk Financial Freedom. Happy Daddy's Day. Thank you, Dion. Michelle Meyer. Hey, Michelle. Happy Father's Day. Appreciate that. Matt Bittner, you as well. Ryan Allen. Hello, everyone. Happy Father's Day. Hope the family's doing well. The family's doing very well. We are spreading our wings, not being in lockdown since Labor Day weekend of last year. This has been our first full week we weren't in lockdown. It's been really, really wonderful. Really wonderful to be able to spend time with friends and family, and some family, not all. But it's been really wonderful. Yeah, really, really good. Let's see. Matt Bittner, do I own any agricultural land? So I don't own any specifically ag land. No. The reason why I say that is because I do own some decent lots with decent amount of land that I could develop agriculturally, but nothing specifically zoned agriculture. No. Keith Hager, happy Father's Day. Spoink superstar. I don't know what that last word is. It's a bunch of stars, so I imagine it's a curse word, and I'm fine with that. I just don't know which one. Ryan Allen, what would you suggest to say work with a seller to get into a seller financing situation? Ryan, those are tough. I know that a lot of people act like it's like this just super easy thing. It really has to be the right situation. I have a deal that I'm working on right now. We offered seller financing. The guy owns the place outright, but it's his primary residence. It's not an investment property. So he gets to walk with $250,000 if he's single, $500,000 if he's not, or if he's married. He gets to walk with that much money untaxed anyway. So it really has to be an investment property. Number two is they're asking them to be the bank. Don't be surprised if they have lots of questions for you. So I think that what Mike is going to be putting out there from a seller financing perspective, I think is really good. If you're in Mike Zuber's course one at a time, there's great content in there. Mike has certainly done videos on it. So to not kind of rehash all of it, but yeah, I mean, seller financing deals are not impossible to find, but they are harder than just picking up the phone and going, hey. Now, if you're doing that in a target rich environment, i.e. you've got 30 people and all of them own the property outright, there's a pretty good chance you'll get a couple, or one or two. And that's kind of the mindset that you need to have, right? It's not that you failed 29 times and that you succeeded once. How many more times did you need to succeed? And as you start to get down the line, they're going to start to do their own financial review of you and your resources. And guess what? That first one they might be able to do, the second one they might do, the third one they might do. But once you get to the fourth or the fifth, depending on how much cash flow you actually have, and how you're performing in the rest of your portfolio, and being able to show being in the black and significantly in the black every month, that's going to start to become what people create question about. So there's a bunch of videos out there. Dion, I think, did one. I have done one or two seller financing deals. They were a portion of the deal, not a huge portion of the deal. Quite frankly, one of them has been a huge pain in my ass. I send the payment every single month, and then he cashes them like 3 and 4 or 5 months at a time. So I don't know if he actually got the payment or not. It kind of is a little bit more than just a little bit infuriating. Yike. Yeah. So there isn't a magic there. There's definitely a skill to be learned there. But I would definitely look at Zuber's content, Dion's content, Pace Morby's content. I would look at those 3 guys. Like I said, I've done a couple, but one of the deals, which was actually really good, one of them was like a 1.3 or $4 million deal for me, or I think it was 1.5. It was 1.5, and the seller was going to take 200 of that. When it was all said and done, what was really ironic was we spent 3 or 4 months negotiating that deal, pulling out of that deal, going back into the deal, walking away from the deal. Like, that was kind of negotiated like a ninja. I crushed in that negotiation. Why, you ask? The proof is in the pudding. 155 was the starting number. 131 was the final number. So when it was all said and done, that person didn't carry a couple $100,000 anymore. That person carried, I think, like 35 grand. And it was just because we had all the documents already done, and the bank had all their documents done. And so I was just like, whatever, like, let's just do it then. So that's why we did it. So hopefully that's helpful to you. Reba Vera, happy Father's Day. Thank you very much, Reba. I appreciate it. Right on. Lexi says hello to you and your family. Hey, Lexi, always there watching with Dad. This is how you get super smart. John, Texas. Good morning. Good morning. Julie Anderson, happy Father's Day. Relax a little, enjoy the beautiful day. So we already have, being on the East Coast, we've already gone out to breakfast, visited with some friends, stopped at my dad's house, visited with my sister who was up from Boston. And so we've already had a day. So we're going to do this for a little while, and then go back to hanging out with the kids. But like I said, we've already had a pretty big day. Let's see if I love it. I just want to scroll down and see if he actually decided to show up and be funny. Oh, he didn't. That's all right. I wanted to see if he wanted to be funny. Reba Vera, incredible resume. Hey, thanks, Reba. I appreciate it. I think anyone can get there. There's no replacement for time. There's guys in the market that have 150 units, and they either own a fraction of them, they own it with a partnership. It's always got a different story. Like Mike and I always joke about how people always report the top line. That's why we actually don't talk about the top line. We don't talk about that stuff. Because quite frankly, all you need to really understand is the velocity in which we carry ourselves through the market, and how much stuff we're touching and how much stuff we're trying to do. That should pretty much paint the picture of how Zoob got to 190 units, how I'm at 117. And actually, if these deals come together, I'll be at 123, 124, something like that. So, but don't look at MLS. There's no good deals there. So yeah, thanks, Reba. Robert Farinelli, hello, Matt. Happy Father's Day. Thanks, Robert. I appreciate you. Beth Traverso, you got it. Hi. Oh, good. Yeah. Hey, Beth. Beth knows what an addict I am about talking about real estate. Now I can talk about it till the cows come home. I love this stuff. And I live it. So it's a lot of fun. Karen Molnar. Hey, Karen. Happy Father's Day, Matt. I appreciate it. Phil Nealon, live on Father's Day, Rockstar. Yeah, I couldn't just leave you guys hanging. So I expect much lower attendance, but I know the diehards are here, and we'll ask questions and talk about it and just spend a little bit of time together today. Rivera, land and expand. I like that. Good. I'm glad. You can steal it. So I've been in sales management for 15 years. About 15 years of my 25-year software or IT career. Yeah. So my poor sales guys, man. They hear that stuff all the time. Land and expand. Just so you know, I can't lead you if I need you. So love it if you're here, but understand if you have to go. That's what I say to reps. It's not the best. One company I had my own chair in HR. I wonder why. But there was never, like, I kept on getting talked to, but they were like, we'd prefer you not. And I was like, I can't do that. I prefer you nots anymore. So that's why I left. Tom Kine, good morning. Hey, good morning, Tom. Happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to you, my friend. I hope you're home safe and enjoying some of your time. Tom is one of the guys that keeps us going in those trucks. So I appreciate you. Robert Farinelli. So it looks like Kevin is the only plumber in Southern New Hampshire that actually carries the dealer kit. The rest of the installers don't. One hasn't answered my call. Unbelievable. With only 2 boilers, do you think it's worth it to buy it myself? I think I would buy it later because I'm too broke to buy it right now. Yeah, I mean, I think really all that dealer kit is it's basically, so these IBC boilers that we use are so beautifully designed that they are 6 pieces, 6, this many. And that's more for me than it is for you. But 6 pieces. So what's beautiful about it being only a 6-piece system is that you can do diagnostic if something doesn't work, or if something needs to be replaced, you're not down for days waiting for parts. There's only 6. If you buy a dealer kit, or if you even just buy a spare unit, we have some of another brand. The problem is on the other brand, there's literally like 70 or 80 components. And usually it's like the same 6 or 7 that fail. And so we've gone through kind of our boneyard of those systems to try and revive new systems. We've kind of gone through those parts. So now we just swap them over to IBCs, which is an on-demand combi boiler. We just swap them over to that because if we have that, then I'm never down for more than 2 hours, which when do heating systems fail? In the wintertime. When do you not want them to fail? In the wintertime. What do you have to make sure you have to do? The state of New Hampshire, I believe, actually has a law that says you must be able to create or have a heat source that keeps the temperature. It's either 58 or 60. 58 or 60 degrees inside the unit, regardless of temperature outside. And so we can't be down for a day or two with no heat system. We can find ways to keep it warm, but it also has to be safe. So there's a bunch of data if you're ever a landlord in a cold area. Janelle Diaz, happy Father's Day, Matt. When purchasing and inheriting a Section 8 tenant, are you able to raise rents immediately with the housing authority if below market? Janelle, congratulations. That is an excellent question. That is an excellent, excellent question. So having been a new landlord to this in just the last 18 months, my experience with New Hampshire housing, specifically in my county, my experience has been this. If they are month to month, I can give them notice, and I believe it's 60 days. I'm not 100% sure, but I believe it's 60 days. But I can give them increase of rent notice. If I give them that increase of rent notice, I can do it to what the then current rate is. I did this with a number of tenants because they were paying, old landlord was so lazy that they were paying that Section 8 on their behalf was paying $1,100. The new standard for that unit was $1,453, I think. All I had to do was notify the tenant, send a copy to the housing authority for that town, and then within 60 days, that's the amount that was then being paid. And so it didn't cost the tenant anymore in a number of those scenarios. In a couple scenarios it did where they weren't fully covered by Section 8. But a number of those, and it was just covered. And then the housing authority for that town ends up paying that more amount. So the only way that you can't do it is if they're under lease. If they are month to month, you can do it. If they're under lease, you have to honor the lease because it's a contract. That's something all landlords have to do, is honor contracts. Many don't. Let's see. So yeah, so that should answer your question. Janine, let me know if I hit it okay. Keith Hager, from a salesman negotiation standpoint on owner financing, show them the tax savings on monthly distribution and lump sum payment tax. So Keith, you're 100% correct. Only applies to if it's not a primary residence or if they haven't lived in it 2 out of the last 5 years, where they're then going to take that massive tax exemption. You're 100% correct. So those statuses work. The other thing that but in many cases they won't work, because you really are trying to get a person to consider to have you consider them the bank where they actually have the inherent risk. And worst of all is they're in second position. So really savvy investors, they see the nice financial benefit, but they also see the risk. So that's where they really have to understand cash flow wise, you have consistent cash flows coming in, that if you're talking about net worth, that it's not tied up in something like, what if it were tied up in crypto, right? What if you had $10 million in crypto? Depending on what coin that is, if you had 10 million bucks in crypto a year ago, that might be $3 million or $2 million right now. That's all I'm saying. So that's one of those things. So Keith makes a great point, but something to consider, like I said, outside of that is it's also people literally having to basically say that you're the, that they're the bank and that you're a good credit risk. So yeah. Kip Stevens, what are your pros and cons of Section 8 program? Thank you for all you do. Happy Father's Day. Pros are the rent is never late. Cons are, my experience so far is that they are 20 to 25% of my portfolio, 80% of my phone calls. They're high, much higher maintenance, is more maintenance on the units. And these units are created equal because we go through and we do rehabs on them. So they are those, again, this is just numbers. This isn't to speak rudely of any specific person or generalize, but guys, this is numbers based. They're 20 to 25% of my unit count right now. Assisted, we'll call them assisted, whether it's another program or Section 8. And they are 20 to 25% of my unit count, and they are 80% of my phone calls. Facts, guys. Sorry, way it goes. I'm not trying to be rude. Just the numbers. That's what I will always share with you guys, the numbers. Can you share some of your side hustles? Yeah, sure. Like when I was poor, or poorer than I am now. I flipped cars. I flipped motorcycles, like buy and sold. Sports cards I was really good at. Sports memorabilia I was really good at. Buying things at yard sales that I knew the value of, like certain sectors of things like tools and things like that. Buying things at yard sales, selling them, on Craigslist or eBay after that. Yeah, kind of you name it. Really, really entrepreneurial. So if I saw that there was opportunity, then that's what I did. I figured it out. Sports cards was probably the biggest thing, because the car thing, you can only do so many of them before they want you to get like a dealer bond, which is like 25 grand, which I didn't have 25 bucks back then. So yeah, those are my side hustles. Those are my side hustles for a few years. The ones that made money. I didn't lose money doing any side hustles. But there were like a couple of like second jobs, like didn't make a lot of money on the second jobs. So that's why I was like, I gotta just side hustle. What first got you interested in real estate investment? So Dave, that's a great question. I grew up in a real estate family. My mom did residential. She was a single mom. And so as a kid, I was going on site to a lot of those houses. My uncle was a multifamily guy, like real multifamily, like Grant Cardone type of multifamily stuff. And so they were both in real estate. So I didn't want to get into real estate. And so I wanted to do my own thing, and I did. I got into tech. And then after 2 or 3 years, I was really making great money. I lost money in the stock market, got it completely obliterated like Mike Zuber. Not that much though. But just percentage wise got obliterated. And just didn't like how I felt like it was an unfair game. And like, there were whisper numbers and, oh, this is the hush hush and, all the insider trading stuff that isn't insider trading, all that stuff. So I just didn't feel comfortable. Like I could get a real edge in that. And so on the housing side, you can create some of your own edges. On the stock side, that's tough to do, or tougher to do unless you're in the mix every single day. So that's what made me pick real estate. It moved slower. It was more predictable. And it was more steady stream and something that could be built up over time and wasn't like an all or nothing thing to start. So that's what kind of got me into that. Phil Nealon, you've talked before about different sound reduction strategies. Yep. Wall guts, insulation, stair padding. Yeah. Do you use any specific interior doors? Yeah, I use solid core doors. And the solid core doors that I use, me specifically, I use I have to look up the name. Guys, there's going to be a very important video coming out either this week or the following, where I'm going to give you my top 10 product choices that I use in my projects. It's through literally hundreds of hours of research, and now they're my staple. This is what I use. This is what I use consistently. This is what I will continue to use. No joke. So I will actually have that for you guys. That video is either this coming week or the following week, but I'll take you through doors, trim, door locks, appliances. Like I will take you through it. And then even some of like the smaller, like goofy stuff that we do. So yeah, I'll take you through all that stuff. And that will be, like I said, this coming week or the following. Cash flow, Johnny Ramirez, sup real estate freaks. So if you guys want a lesson in hustle, so Johnny Cash Flow, not Johnny Net Worth, but Johnny Cash Flow. He has been awesome to watch. My feed gets plugged up with all of his reaching out to people, trying to put deals together, stepping up his game, meeting more people, talking to more people, trying to do more deals, trying to do creative financing. So Johnny, you're doing it right, my man. Congratulations to you. There's no doubt success comes to you, my friend. Just execute properly. Make sure you're, not getting too over your skis. But yeah, watching him has been, it's honestly, it's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome. I said something that offended somebody. A bunch of people jumped off. That's all right. Maybe you come back. Maybe you don't. David Yang, good morning, everyone. Good morning, David. Happy Father's Day. Good luck to everyone buying this year, next year. Yep, crossing the finish line. Ain't that the truth? Yeah, for sure. LV Teach Me, happy Father's Day. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Robert Farinelli, is Stone Harbor supposed to be brownish? The primer I used looks browner than it should be. I was told it couldn't be tinted fully because it's a primer. I don't know who told you that. That's a bunch of bull. So here's the thing. The tinted primer is good because it will mean less coats of the actual paint. However, it may not be exactly the same color as the Stone Harbor gray, but what it is it's a dark enough base that because it's the primer, it gives you the protection of the primer, but it also gives you after you do that next set of paint, it'll give you a beautiful paint job. So that's why I always tint my primer. If you go with a white primer and then try and paint Stone Harbor gray on top of it, enjoy doing 2 or 3 coats because it's a darker paint. So the key is tinting the primer and not just painting white primer. Tint the primer. Yep. Karen Mulder, thank you for being here today. I'm very happy to. LV Teach Me, happy Father's Day to the fathers. Yes, LV Teach Me, I agree. Karen Mulder, for homes built in the 1920s and 30s. Sorry about the multi. Yeah, no worries. So as soon as I figure out what you're saying, Karen. Yeah. Oh, for the homes built in the 1920s and 30s. Yep. No worries, Karen. Whatever. If you have a question about that, I'm happy to answer it because that's pretty much all I get the chance to work on. It's kind of frustrating. Let's see. Oh man, chat moved. There we go. Robert found it, but it could be me learning my lesson from buying stuff from HD. Yes, slap me for not buying Benjamin Moore, but Ace Hardware. Robert, do not. Those paint people at that counter, they go to like a few day course. They have no clue what they're talking about. The amount of training that you have to go through at a Benjamin Moore or a Sherwin-Williams is mind numbing. Yes, they don't know what they're talking about. They're full of crap. Yeah. Yeah. I have bought literally 10,000 gallons of paint. Like we buy, man, yeah, we buy probably an average of 10 to 15 gallons a week. So yeah, my pricing matters for me on what I buy that for. Yeah, for sure. Dion talk financial freedom. Every time you hit the like button, an angel gets his wings. That's true. I've heard that. That's true. Ready on. Hey, Matt, making another offer today. Love it. Lender is concerned that the appraiser won't qualify the loan because of a portion of the siding missing. Can I just go and fix the siding myself? Talk to the seller. Let them know that that would be a problem for like an FHA or potentially like a VA loan. So your mortgage broker is a little bit dramatic. If it is an FHA loan, possible. If it's a VA loan, likely. If it's a conventional loan, no. They will take a picture of it and show that a piece of siding is missing. However, ounce of prevention beats a pound of cure. Good on you. Absolutely. That's something I would do. Just to make a deal happen, because literally like, so a square of siding is 10 feet by 10 feet of siding. Okay. That's a square. And usually a square runs about 100, and depending on your product, it used to be about 104. Well, my cost was about $104 a square. Now it's more like 160, 170 a square, depending on your product. But that's what my product went up to. And so even if you need like two or three pieces replaced, you're talking about like $60. And siding is not rocket science, especially if it's just a patch job. No inspector is going to go and do like lifts on your lips and things like that. It's not going to happen. So yeah, I would. So ready on. Yes, that's exactly what I would do. Tom Kine, thanks, sir. You're welcome. Karen Molnar, posts for homes built in the early 1900s, besides the obvious roof, foundation, windows, HVAC, etc. What are the top issues I should consider? So the things that you really want to look at in those older posts are just rot or infestation. Do I have a? I don't have a screwdriver in my desk. Not surprising. Take a screwdriver and literally give it what I call the psycho. That's literally what that is. So do that into the beams where you see like little holes. And when you do that, if that thing goes into it, you've got a big problem. If that thing just sticks in it, you probably don't have a big problem. But that's one really easy way to tell if you're going to have a major issue is just kind of look around, look and see if there's any wet areas consistently where the beams are, because that will mean that there's probably rot there and that the wood might be soft. But yeah, I would take a screwdriver and you just hit it into those beams. And you know, those a lot of times those beams are 8x8s or 10x10s, meaning like this big. That's like a 10x10. This is like an 8x8, and this is like a 6x6. Size of my hands is deceiving. But yeah, that's what I would do. That's the fastest way to tell. Look for like little burrow holes, look for like lines where it looks like kind of like a worm on the exterior, but it's like eaten through. Those are all signs of a pest infestation. Also look for like shavings, because that means they're actually burrowing through. We don't have a lot of that here. Down in Florida, that's a big thing. In California, subterranean termites is a big thing. Up here in the Northeast, we don't have that and nearly as much. Just food for thought. Hopefully that's helpful to you. Let's see. Other than that, what should you consider? You have foundation, yep. Windows, yep. HVAC, yep. Yeah, just like it's really just heating. So HVAC, I don't know if you guys have them out there very much, but boilers, we call them boilers here. So it literally boils the water, creates steam, and then that goes into steam radiators. That's one of the more common heat sources here. Those are the big ticket items, you know, so anything structural is the other stuff that I'm looking at too, just structural stuff. Yeah. Hopefully that's helpful. Rob, moving out of my primary today into my house hack. Yeah. Already met my primary for 6K a month. PITI is 3K. Now I need to get the other half of the duplex up and running. Rob, that is awesome. Once it is paid, once it is, I'll be paid 1K a month to live there in San Diego. Bro, congratulations. That is awesome. I love that. I love that. I just had that conversation with my wife about house hacking. She wasn't as thrilled about the idea. It's kind of crazy, but yeah. But congratulations, Rob. That's awesome. Robert Farinelli. The problem was one came DOA with the flow sensor, and it took 5 days to get the part. Yep. Tenant's sister got very emotional, and saw going to sue me. Apparently, yeah. Like that's the thing is like they get very emotional about these things. And it's like, hey, it's on order. What do you want me to do? Just so you know, if you get in front of a judge on something like that, what you have to do is that you did all that you could. Hey, I made these a bunch of phone calls. They're all coming from the same supply house. This is when they said we can have it. And I got it done as quickly as I can possibly do it. I did everything humanly possible to make this happen faster. So yeah, for me, we have extra systems. He has that dealer kit. That's why, again, it's like we talked about, I'll always pick product that is supported by the local guys because of that fact. I know it's going to go down. It's going to be freezing cold. It's usually when it's been running for days straight because some idiot put it on 82. And we don't pay for heat in 75% of our units, but in 25% we do. Because it might be a shared boiler or this side or the other. A lot of other things. Man, YouTube is having a thing today. It's like 55-35, 50-17. It's crazy. Again, maybe I was just offensive. It's quite possible. Right now, it's 68 degrees in Maine, and that's why I'm not a landlord in Maine. Yep, no way. Because there is no way you're keeping a place heated to 68 degrees in the wintertime if your primary heat system is out. You can put 5, those electric heaters in there, the safe ones that are like fully enclosed, blah, blah, blah. You can put 5 of those in there, put them on full blast. If it's -10 outside, nope, that house doesn't get to that number. Which IBC boiler would you recommend for a 3-unit in New Hampshire? 331. The 199,000 BTU, I would look at that one. That's one that I just put in. My bed count's the same as yours. It was a 4-bed, 3-bed, so 7 bedrooms as well. But the thing that you have to look at is the on-demand nature. So you can have, I think for the 199,000 BTU one, you can be supplying heat to the units, both units, if it's a shared unit. And you can do 199,000 BTU. That will run heat to the 2 units that I have, which are about 2,700 square feet or so, 2,800 square feet. And that will also allow for like a shower running, a dishwasher running, and a washing machine running. Like its replacement capabilities are pretty storied. Robert Fairley, other than that, these IBC boilers are amazing. Thank you. I'm glad that, I'm sorry that you got that one that had a bad sensor. It's literally never happened to me. And I've done now 29 of them. It's never happened to me. So sorry about that. But yeah, I don't get paid by IBC. It's just another great product that I recommend to people because it has been so consistent, so easy to get repaired. Even in the dead of winter, just and the reliability, and yeah, so it's just been an amazing experience so far. And I've been doing those for I think this coming October, I want to say, is 7 years, I believe. Peter Bedford, I've carried back to a buyer, but I would only do it in for first position. Yeah, and that's tough because you're not going to get that over, like a bank's not going to give you that. Like a bank, it will not do a deal unless they're first position, unless they know that they're doing like a HELOC, then it's different. Andrew P, happy Father's Day, Matt. Hope you and the family are having an excellent day. Thank you. Yeah, we've had a good start so far. Let's see. Peter Bedford, Section 8, raising rents difficult? Nope. It's literally a tenant letter. This is what you currently, so in my state and in my town, this is what you're currently paying. This is what we're raising the rents to. This is what the voucher from Section 8 provides. We send them a copy, and then we send the housing authority for that town a copy. And then we also put in there what the effective date is. We need to make sure that it's more than 60 days out. We do that, and that's it. That's it. I did that. And then one guy actually said, it was the principle of the matter, and he decided to move. I didn't help him pack, but I probably would have. He should have asked. It's a principle of the matter. It's somebody else's money. They're paying your entire weight, and you complained about the raise because I should take the hit and not raise your rent, even though you've been there for 5 years and you haven't had a rent raise. Yeah, we saw things differently. I'm just waiting for the bunch of people to jump off because of that statement. Hey, Don, good morning. Happy Father's Day. Don, happy Father's Day to you too, sir. LV, teach me pros of Section 8. Government subsidy payments never late. Yep. Cons, inspections can be a headache. Yeah, once a year. They're not too bad. Processing application for the payment can take months. So that's not my response. That's not my experience here. Everything was processed within a couple weeks. Like if they had a voucher, it was processed within a couple weeks. So that wasn't an issue. Policies say the tenant's not responsible for maintenance. Yeah. And so there's certain things that are maintenance. And yeah, that you know, like the type of stuff, like I even leave, so we do electronic door locks. We leave an extra set of batteries there. And then they're like, oh yeah, it was blinking red for a month, didn't call you, now I'm locked out. I left you back. You knew it was blinking red. I left you batteries. You use them for something else because you thought I bought you $10 worth of batteries. Help thyself. Tom Kine, how involved is the housing authority with your properties, such as initial contact and the person and the process to get involved with them, inspecting, re-inspecting, payment of rents from housing authority and tenant? It's not too bad. It's not too bad. So I have, I do it in 2 towns. The 2 towns that I do it in, it is person sees the place, they like the place, it then goes to the inspector. The inspector inspects it, gives a list of the things. I then do the things. Being brand new to the process, there were some silly kind of like I got flagged for a broken light switch plate. Like I didn't recognize it. I missed it. My bad. We'll make sure to replace that. So we did. But then you get that report, you fix everything up, then they re-inspect. Then once they re-inspect, then you're fine for then the person to move in. And then after that, it's supposed to be annual. If you're a slumlord, you're going to have problems because the tenant will largely call the a housing authority on you if anything is sideways. I have only gotten a call once from the housing authority saying that there was a problem, but that tenant was a problem. That tenant was the rent might have been being paid, but I was getting complaints about that tenant from everybody around them. So yeah, that's kind of how that works. So it's not too bad, Tom. It's that part of it. That part of it. I mean, if I see something in my property that needs to be addressed, I address it. Like I'll put it on a list and get it done. For them, so if you're a landlord that is like, let the normal wear and tear take place, and then after they leave, I'll take care of it. That doesn't fly with Section 8, because at the end of the year or every year, they're going to want to see that stuff taken care of. So that's where that one differs. Hopefully that's helpful. Sorry, guys. I just need to check and make sure. And Jay, if you're watching this, why are you watching this? Go get that deal done, dude. That was from my broker. Keith Hager, yes, on the top 10 products and necessities. Yes, I've been thinking about that video for a really long time. Because what I want to do is I want to not only give you the product, like i.e. this is what it is, but then also show you where I buy it. To save the most money and make it really easy for people to kind of go out there and get lumberjacked. You know, these are the products that I use, that I have experience with. There's some product that I won't talk. I mean, I will talk about it and I'll tell you that it's garbage. I do not do Samsung fridges or washers and dryers or LG. Both of them are not particularly good. The way that they're designed, they're expensive to repair, and you will see people more often. And again, based on my numbers, the reason that they're such amazing selling brands is because they're in all the big box stores. That's why. That's why. A lot of the smaller appliance stores don't carry that stuff. They carry the more traditional GE, Frigidaire, Maytag, Whirlpool. They more likely carry that stuff. Tom Kine, as well as utilities and damages, advertising to do background checks. Do they send you people, or you have to figure out the tenant? You have to figure out the tenant 100%. At the time that they were brought into the program, they had a background check done. Since then, they have not. That's the way it works in my state. Oh, I thought I almost got caught up. You guys are killing me with questions today. I love it. Love it. I love it. Peter Bedford, would love to see your product choice list and compare it to mine. I'm happy to do that. Yeah, I'm literally working on it now. I'm kind of going through, because we're doing a rehab right now. I am literally going through the process right now of identifying all the different stuff that we use, or that we basically have stock of in our storage. And I bought a building that was a 6-unit apartment building, but it was a very long building. And so the building has 3,000 square feet in the basement. I use all of it for storing product. Yep. Because I buy stuff by the bulk and drastically reduce my costs. So happy to do that. Chris Miller, happy Father's Day, Matt. Hope your family is doing well. Awesome article in Business Insider. Congrats. Thanks, Chris. I appreciate that. Congratulations to Charlotte. She is a daredevil. That's awesome. I hope you guys are enjoying your vacation. Johnny Cashflow Ramirez, cheers. Cheers. Thanks, Matt. I've got great mentors with the Three Amigos and Company. Awesome. I'm super happy to hear that. Yeah, Johnny, keep on banging, man. Keep on banging. You never know when you're going to find that next amazing deal. And you are hustle nation right now, my friend. Miguel Garcia, what questions are you asking when buying a single family home with existing tenants? I don't buy single family homes. Yeah, I don't buy them. In New Hampshire, because we don't have a state income tax and because we don't have sales tax, the main portion of where the government basically pays its bills is from property taxes. So that does two things for me. One, it aligns my state with my needs as a landlord, because if I'm not getting paid my rent, they can't get paid their taxes. So we have a natural symbiotic relationship. The second thing is because there are these very high property taxes, single family homes in my market rarely cash flow. It's not as expensive as San Diego, but it's about as lousy as the return on capital, or San Francisco. Like the returns on capital on single family homes, unless you've owned them for a long time, is junk. But going into a market, because give you guys an example, $759,000, 1,500 square foot, 3-bed. Let me just so the real quick math on that is 6%. Let's just call it 6%. And even if you're taking out a mortgage, even if you're putting 20 points down, you're taking out a mortgage of 600. You're still going to be, your payment with taxes, and the taxes are like 12 grand. Your payment with taxes is going to be like $4,500 a month. The max rent on something like that, like the max, is 35. You're losing a G a month. So yeah, the numbers are just horrible. But that's a great question though, Miguel. Chris Miller, following the paint question with Benjamin Moore, Stone Harbor Gray. Yep. Should the painters be able to only apply one coat? Usually. Yep. So if they prime it. If they prime it with a tinted primer, it should be a one coat job in most cases. But yeah, tinted one coat primer. None of my jobs, or less than 3% of my jobs, less than 3% of my jobs are two coated. Less than 3. Dion Talk Financial Freedom. Matt may do a live stream on Tuesday when I'm on a cruise. That's true. I will do a live stream on Tuesday in honor of Dion being on his cruise. Lumberjack After Dark. I'm very excited to do it. It'll be a lot of fun. And so we'll do something like this. So that's not this Tuesday. It's a week from Tuesday. So you'll probably get a double dose of me that week if you want. Otherwise, just don't come. Keith Hager, are you in a flip this year? We flip one a year and I find that my cash flow is made on the purchase. I am. So I don't go into any deals as wanting to do a flip. I don't. The only deals that I go into are deals that I want to have a buy and hold. I don't like doing all that work and creating all the excess time, effort, energy for me, because I know I'm going to do the flip right. The margins are smaller for me because I go to the ends. I do really nice flips. And again, from my perspective, so I overspend is an easier way of saying it because I want to do it right. The challenge for me is that because of that, the margins were so narrow on any deal that I've seen in the last 2 years that I haven't done a flip. The one that I ended up flipping was because that particular house in that particular area, the comps went nuts. They went nuts. There was in this, like, I don't know, maybe out of like 1,000 houses, in this one specific area in our city, there were like 2 for sale, and there was nothing like this in our entire city. It's a very unique property, but unique in a good way. And so that worked out very, very, very well for us. So only reason I flipped that was because that was the start of my $1 million challenge. I did that one project, and that one $250,000 house, I turned into over $1 million worth of real estate within a year. They're so silly. So yeah, so no flip this year, probably not anytime soon. We'll do gut. Well, so I'm in a two massive gut rehabs. One of them is a house that we're adding an ADU and a second floor to. Another one is actually rehabbing a 160-year-old home, 4-unit that's downtown in one of my cities. And so those are massive, massive projects, but those are both buy, gut rehab, hold properties. Neither of those we will flip. LV, teach me. A service person at HD Paint Counter did not know what a joint compound knife was. There you go. She told me they didn't sell them. Yep. I searched the aisle, found it, and showed her, replied, oh, yeah. Yep. That's pretty much your experience in the big box stores. again, they're not bad people, but they're horribly trained, and they really, a lot of them really don't care about that end result for you. And the funny thing is those putty knives, they have like 6 different versions of them, because they have they have them in 3 or 4 or 5 different widths, and then they have them also with an edge to them, and also a pick to them as well. So there's about 14 different versions of those in either of those big box stores. So LV, teach me, you're dead on. REI trainer stepping in a little later than normal. All good, my man. Good to have you. Happy Father's Day. Thank you very much. Congratulations on your Business Insider article. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yeah, we've got, yeah, there's actually another one coming too, I think. That's what she said. I don't know. It's exciting. I love being a part of it. With the boys, with Dion and Mike and Todd Baldwin. I actually have a video coming out this week with Todd Baldwin, because we got put into 2 articles together and we had never actually even talked. So I reached out to him. I was just like, dude, we got to do something. Like, we keep on getting thrown into these articles together. We're kind of like East Coast, West Coast. So we actually finally did a video together. It was a lot of fun. So I'll put that out this week, and you guys will take a look at that. I liked working with Todd a lot. I hope I get to work with him again. Really sharp, fun guy. And so I'm super excited for him and for all of his success, and congratulations to him. I know that his wife is expecting, so I think that's awesome. Let's see. Tom Kine. I ran my numbers last year at purchase with a $1,400 rent, and HA is paying $1,820 and including utility. There you go. So that's one of the things you just have to watch, is just look at what the last year was, look at what the utility was. Was it even like, let's say it's $100 a month? Okay, well then you're still net positive 3 bills a month. That's a lot of money, right, Tom? I mean, that's an extra 20% on top of whatever your percentages were that you were making. That's why it's really, 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 really important. And that's why I find value in all my deals. The deal that I'm going to close on, 4 unit, total rents are 4,200. No, right? That's low. 4,100. Yeah, total rents are 4,100. Section 8. If I just go Section 8, forget about market, is 6,200. That's a 50% increase in rents. That's why that deal will make over 40% after I'm done doing some little projects there. So unearth value and make that cash flow. Tom Kine. Oh, yep. Janelle Diaz. Yes, very helpful, Matt. Thanks. Yeah. Hopefully the Honeywell T-stat link borrower paid comp for brokers was helpful for you too. So I haven't had a chance to play because I couldn't get in my units because I was on quarantine. So now that's actually something that we actually have scheduled in July. But we're going to start testing some of that stuff. And if it is, then we deploy them everywhere because I'm not getting got like I got last year. That could be a kid's song, but anyway. Let's see. Matt, if you live stream in Dion's time slot, remember it's a minimum of 3 hours. Yeah, I was live streaming before Dion. And I was going 4 hours and 5 hours, and that was stupid. So I cut it back to 3. But yeah, for sure. I'll be ready to go for 3 hours. It's at the end of the day. And my kids are all asleep and my wife is asleep. So I got nothing else to do except for look at real estate and talk about it. Robert Farinelli, I told her by the time we make it to court, the problem would be fixed. So have fun. Yep. Plus Southern New Hampshire Services hasn't paid her rent. So does she want an eviction? Just saying. I have somebody being a bully to me right now too. And I said, that is not wisdom. I would not bully your landlord. I am a good landlord and I take care of things on a timely basis. I can't help it if no one is available. It's not an emergency. Trust me. If it were a safe and health and safety issue, I would have taken care of it myself, but it's not. And I was under quarantine. So yeah. Yep. Let's see. I'm going to try this new Bear paint. Retails for about $62 a gallon. Got it for $50. Supposed to be a 1 coat at coverage because the paint I'm covering in is a Bear paint. Yep. On the 1 coat coverage list. Yeah, maybe. It's always worth trying out. For me, I will just always stick with Benjamin Moore. It stands up better over time. It cleans easier with like magic erasers, doesn't leave weird marks. But yeah, try it out. Nothing wrong with that. Peter Bedford. So the Section 8 voucher amount is your upper limit you can raise to? Yes. For Section 8, yes. That's the, but in my market, Section 8 is about 20 to 30% off of retail. So that's why at a minimum, I'll use the base case. At a minimum, I will use the, at a minimum, I will use my base case number is Section 8 and then everything. And then otherwise it's market, but I don't have to believe in pie in the sky, right? Because I'm pitching to my banks. Hey, Mr. Banker, I've got great news. I've got guaranteed rent at this number, and that makes us a 40% return on my capital. Sure. So I'll send it in. Okay, awesome. Hey, Mr. Banker, this would give me a 40% return, and these are pro forma rents and what I believe I can get in the market. Do you have any proof of that? Can you show us that? Is it something in the same building that's a like kind unit? That's where the questions start. So I always put myself in a position where their easiest answer is yes, but you have to do your work. And that's how I prepare for my bankers. And that's quite frankly why they like me. I mean, at least like me professionally. Robert Fairnelly, but I don't think that will happen because the previous paint on the wall is semi-gloss for some reason. Yeah, that's horrible. Yep, the plan was only priming all the holes I needed to repair with sheetrock, which was a lot. Yep, the quote on. Have to bail for now, taking my 100-year-old father-in-law out for lunch. That is awesome. Congratulations. Great job, Don. That's awesome. 100-year-old. Wow. Man, that's awesome. Congratulations, Don. And to him as well. Kara Moeller, thank you, Matt. Very helpful. Awesome. So happy to hear your family is returning normal. Me too. Winters are the worst. But springs aren't the best. I mean, spring and summer, we have a yard, swing set and pool and things like that. So, you know, that was actually when we had our second child. That was the conversation. We want to have a house, and thank God we did it, because it was before my second daughter was born, my third child, and it was right before COVID. And thank God that we did it, because it was just, yeah, huge blessing for us for sure. Yeah. Matthew Paris, happy Father's Day. Hey, happy Father's Day to you too, Matthew Paris. LV teach me. Samsung appliances are garbage. Yep, you said garage, but I know you meant garbage. An appliance repairman told me to replace, not repair the Samsung in my new purchase home. Yep. So it's what they do with, basically, if it's any issue within the board, you have to replace the board, which is like half to 65% of the price of a brand new unit. And likely that will be a problem again. And like I said, with Samsungs and LGs, we've had a significant number that have had to have replacements. And you know who's actually the worst offender? Bosch. And that's an extremely expensive appliance. All of them are. Yep. I had a fridge, freezer arm on a bottom slide out drawer. The fridge freezer arm was $950. I had a part in the washer that was $875. Then it didn't fix the problem. And they said, well, don't worry, we'll just charge you for the part. No, you're not. You're taking it back. You didn't fix my problem. Well, it's now considered a used part. That's not a me problem. That's a you problem. You didn't fix my machine. I'm not paying for a part that didn't fix it. Honest to God with people. I tease this one friend of mine because they don't reach out very often. I'm usually the reacher outer. So she just sent me Happy Father's Day. I was like, that is awesome. What's my gift? Yeah, it's a thing. She's pretty funny. So busy. Let's see. It's very helpful. Appliance. Yep. Garbage. Marisha Ninehauser. Hey, Marisha. Happy Father's Day. Thank you very much from Panama. I know, I'm so jealous. That's awesome. Working on a rental, love it. Can primer be mixed with the actual color of choice, like Stone Harbor, gray, or just so what you want to do is, believe it or not, when they tint primer, they will largely usually when they're tinting primer, they'll just put like black in there. Because if it's a darker, it depends on what. So the reason that you tint is if you can tint it based on the color that you're painting. So you tell them, this is the color I'm painting. Can you please tint the primer? A lot of times they can have either the same color mix to it, or they can add black to it. So if it's like a darker, richer color, I did a room in cranberry once, 7 coats of paint to not see any shade of white, nothing, 7 coats of paint. Idiot. That's how I learned how to tint primer. That's how it happened. No joke. So funny, man. 7 coats of paint. Thank God it was a small room. It still cost me a fortune. It's like they painted like half the house based on the cost of that one paint job. So you can do it any color. Just tell them what color you're painting and then ask them to tint the primer. LV, teach me. I use a realtor that works with local housing authority to find potential tenants for me. However, I select the tenant. Yes, LV, teach me. That's dead on. Yep, that's exactly right. Oh no, it jumped. Oh no, there we go. Okay, cool. Dimitri Gurvich, hey man, how you doing? I tried to look up Bob Langworthy. Yep. I'm sure I'm spelling their name wrong because I couldn't find them. Yeah. Kohler is on YouTube, but Langworthy. Yep. Langworthy. Langworthy. Yep. Bob Langworthy. Crushing. Yep. Crushing. Steve Martin, happy Dad's Day, and thanks for all the time you give. Steve Martin, I'm happy to do it for you. Honestly, happy Father's Day. Hey, to you as well. Thanks for all you do, sharing your skills with us. I'm happy to do it. Dimitri Gurvich, happy Father's Day, everyone. Awesome. Business Insider is a favorite of mine. Must check it out. Yeah, Kathleen's great. So she's the one who's done a number of articles, on my business or me or the experience or whatever you would say. And Kathleen's brilliant. She asks great questions. What I'm most always concerned about with those things is not how I'm perceived, believe it or not. It really is much more about, I want to make sure that I told you my exact experience and how I felt in the situation, because now it's like a duck off water's, a water off duck's back. Easier for me to say. But yeah, I still recognize, like, you still get a rush when you buy a house, even though I've bought 60 of them or something. 60. Yeah. 60-ish. So even though I bought that many, I still get a rush from it. I still love closing a deal. I still love the process. I still get nervous. Did I miss something? Am I going to find out that there was some ooze somewhere in the ground on this property and I'm completely screwed? So yeah, it's a process, guys. You can only, what I always like to say is you can't legislate out the sun. So take your thumb, put it up on the sun. And if you go like this at the right angle, right time of day, you can actually block out the sun. Well, is the sun bigger than your thumb? Of course it is. So the idea is that there's always going to be problems. And this is probably an absolutely horrible metaphor, but there's always going to be problems. But if you're just trying to block them up with your thumb, it doesn't mean the problem isn't any longer there. It doesn't mean the problem doesn't exist. And it doesn't mean it's not huge, but you have to have perspective. You can block out the sun with your thumb. So when you're looking at a problem, you can block it out a lot of times with your thumb. But it's a lot bigger than that. And so you do need to handle it, because it is bigger than it may appear. And it is important to work on it. But in stride. Andrew P. Matt, do you have a process for estimating expenses on 5+ units other than comparing to your current portfolio? Context: the deals that are not on market, but you want to pursue potential with a seller, base case to work with. Thanks. I don't know. So I don't know for Mike why that's different. Because I have 6 units. Yeah, I have like a 6 unit that it's all the same math for me as it was a 4-plex. So there's nothing more special that I do. Only time that anything comes into play is in the state of New Hampshire, when you have more than 4 units on one single heating system, it has to be inspected by the state. I think it's every 2 years or every 3 years. In fact, I literally just got a call. But I only own 2 buildings like that are larger than 5 unit that have one heating system. Incidentally, those are also ones that need back pressure and flow testing for the sprinkler systems. That's once a year, once every other year. And so that one you have to have a third party company do, and it costs it's like $300 or $400 or $500. It's a few $100s, and it's well worth having because your insurance company is going to want to see that, but it's just another added expense. Outside of that, from a little bit larger of a building, it really depends on what the mix and makeup is. If they're all on their own heating systems, and that sort of thing, that's the biggest difference here in my market. So yeah, nothing different that I would think of other than if it is sprinkled, meaning it has a sprinkler system. If it is a shared heating system, those are the only things that I would think about that might be different than a 4 or 4 or lower. LV teaching, is it expensive to remove asbestos wrapped on ductwork? Yep, it is. Sorry. Yeah, it just is. Depending on the state, you don't have to remove it. It just has to be, I would absolutely contact an expert and get their opinion. I would get 3 or 4 quotes at a minimum. What they have to do in my state is they come, they look at it, they give you a quote, but they have to report the site to the state. Then they have to create what's called a zero, not zero gravity, zero air. It's like a zero air or negative air environment. So that way it's as they're, and you know what they do? They literally, so I've had this done in a couple houses. They literally soak everything, make it soaking wet, because asbestos doesn't hurt you when it sits there. Asbestos only hurts you when it becomes friable and it gets into the air. So if you've ever seen a video of asbestos, if it's around a pipe getting hit, you hit it, creates a bunch of dust. Those are the fragments that can get in your lungs that cause mesothelioma or issues like that. And so the asbestos around the duct isn't necessarily a problem unless it's really deteriorating. It's become friable. It's become airborne. And like I said, then they will absolutely drench the hell out. So then they'll be if it's in the basement, which is where it usually is, they'll usually create an entryway where you wash down, wipe down the whole 9 yards. And then when you leave that space, you go into this next room where you also clean off and then get out of your suits and all that other stuff. And then you get out of that room, and then that's the outside. And so it's that process for kind of getting outside that is their process. So they go in there, they work all day, they soak everything, and then everything gets wrapped up, rolled up, and then brought to a specific dump where there's much more expensive dumping fees, but also it gets basically logged in the state as something that that's there and happens. Yes. So it can be expensive. Yeah, sadly. It is, I've gotten quotes. So an exterior of a house that had asbestos siding, that was $32,000 to get rid of that because they were going to have to tent the whole house and negative air, blah, 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 blah. Basement with pipes and ductwork. yeah, I think as low as like $7,000 is what I've seen. On again, it was just, and it wasn't the whole basement, it wasn't all the ducting, but the duct that was exposed. So yeah, that can be a thing. Chris Miller, I just had Section 8 inspection. Okay, most things were super dumb. Yep. Yeah, like I said, a cracked light switch plate. I got flagged for that. I mean, okay. All right. Most things were super dumb, like a tree branch from the neighbors growing slightly across the property lines. Yep. Got hit for a lack of a pressure pipe on the water heater. Yep. Know anything about that? Yeah, I sure do. So that is so on your water heater, again, I can give you my experience, but I'm not a plumber. And I don't play one on TV. The pressure pipe is basically a part that comes out of the hot water tank that you can actually hit. If pressure is building in the tank, that tank can explode. It's a tank. So that tank can explode. You can actually, on that, there's a pressure release valve that's actually usually on the side, and then it has a downspout. They will flag you if you don't have a downspout coming off of that. So that is a thing. But something really interesting to know is that usually that pressure release, usually that's threaded. And so you just have to get the pipe size right. But usually that's threaded. If it's not, then, a plumber will just come in there and he'll cut a piece of copper, and he can also solder. Dear God. My daughter got me last night really good. Tired. So yeah, that's what that is, Chris. Holy cow, I thought I was set up. I thought I was caught up. I mean, Peter Bedford, great insight. Thanks. You're welcome. All right, Farnelli. And if I'm not happy, I will switch to Benjamin Moore, but I will probably mean trying to make a relationship with Nashua Paint and Wallpaper. Only Benjamin Moore Paint in Manchester's Ace Hardware. The Ace guys are trained. They're still trained. They're still trained. Obashan Hardware is where I am. I'm telling you, go talk to them. It will blow your mind. I thought the same thing 7 years ago, but I went in and I talked to them. They are on it. They are awesome. Yep. They are very awesome. So I would absolutely recommend you go talk to them and not just think Ace is Ace. Make sure you're getting the paint guy. So you can ask them, when's your specialized paint guy in? And you should be fine. Then you don't have to go all the way to Nashua. That should help you out. Noel Jerez. Noel, thanks for coming and hanging out. Good afternoon, Matt. I currently own a 4-family that I'm house hacking. Yeah, I love it. I want to buy a 3-family next. I love it. Also to house hack. It is possible to buy FHA loan with 5% down. Thank you. Yes, it is. Look at my video, 4-3-2-1 strategy. That's exactly my 4-3-2-1 strategy. It's what I did. I did 9 moves in 13 years. I encourage you, watch that 4-3-2-1 strategy. The big thing is you have to refinance out of that loan, out of your FHA loan. Just be very careful because your rate might be like, 3 or 3.5, and now it's 6.5. Don't give up that wicked small rate. So you might need to save a little bit longer, put a little bit more down and get a conventional. But that's the thing to keep in mind, is that in that FHA process, if you can refi, if rates are generally the same as what your current rate is, then yes, you free up that loan. But that is something you absolutely have to watch out for. So great question. Congratulations, Noel, and keep up the good work. All right, fairly too big of a chain to want to work with someone like me. No, probably not. I don't think so. LV teach me 100 years of living is really amazing. Yeah. Wishing you a happy Father's Day. I know, right? Steve Martin. That's what the idiot comment made me do, knowing I'm not the only one. Yeah, no, you're not the only one. Yep. Not the only one. Guys, I've made a ton of mistakes. That's why I share them. Now I don't make very many mistakes at all. I really don't. But it's because I made them all before. But I still make mistakes. It's just pretty rare. One of my guys, literally, he always does the bringing out his phone. He goes, I'm just texting you to remind you today was the day you made a mistake. I was like, thanks. So they get a kick out of it. But it's because, again, you guys will be in the same place when you've been doing this for 20 plus years and you've got, 400 tenants and 100 and something units. It starts to become, it's the same thing. It's the same thing over and over and over again. If any of this is helpful to you guys, I would love it if you would hit that like button for me. Yes. Robert Farrelly, Bosch sucks. That's funny. The company installing my boiler recommended Bosch boiler. They're idiots. Bosch sucks. Bosch sucks. It's, you know why? You know why they recommended it? Because it's really expensive. They break often and they're super expensive to fix. So they are doing that in their own best interest. Robert Farinelli. And the other said IBC was boiler spec and how great Will McLean was. Yeah, that guy's an idiot. 29 systems. Yeah. IBC makes amazing product and it's to better spec than Will because Will is a US company, I'm pretty sure. And IBC, I want to say they do it to Canadian spec, which is much colder in Winnipeg in the middle of the winter when it can get minus 50 wind chill. Yeah. So that guy is trying to sell you something. I will outduel him all day long with actual facts and numbers. Yeah. And he's probably the guy who didn't call you back too. Like these guys are tool bags. So yeah, Will McLean is better than IBC. Yeah. Show me the numbers. I bet you I have Will McLean's. I have a bunch of them. Guys, think about it. I have 117 units. I have 104, 105 heating systems. I have over almost 600 appliances. Think about that. I have almost 600 appliances. So I know a little bit of what I speak, and I can only tell you my experience, but that's fact. So yeah, I love these guys that recommend product because that's what they work on and that's what they know, and they know it breaks. Give me a break. Literally. Robert Farinelli. So when I was talking about semi-gloss needed 2 coats because I'm painting over it with satin, is it because the semi-gloss flashes? Yep. If you paint it over with a lower sheen. Yep. I absolutely have experienced that. Yeah, for sure. Semi-gloss is tough to cover. I would use a primer. I would use a separate primer to make sure to give you a perfect base. Because I think you're going to get a flash period. So I would use a primer. Yep. Ryan Allen. So on the seller financing deal I'm trying to build, it is a triplex of 4 bedroom, 1 bath units. Oh, that's awesome. I love it. High density in bedroom and a 3 count. I love it. I love the deal. Tell me more. The seller is tired of the PM taking advantage of them by overcharging for things, like recommending heating systems that are better than others when they don't actually have any facts. I get that. Yep. Yes. Yeah. I mean, just so the way that I work it out is I work out. So I guess I can share this. I worked out what I wanted my profit margin to be on the deal. And then I backed into what I thought the deal needed to look like. Mike talks about his 50, 40, 10 structure where he wants a blended rate of 4, but Velocity is charging him 7. And so he has to find a way to get it to 4. But what's the way to do that? Well, then that means the seller can only get 1 point. If you're doing it just averaging the rate, not actual cost of rate, because one of them's on 50% of the deal and the other one's on 40% of the deal. So the way that I look at it is I come out with what I want to make, and then I back into it with this is what I believe I can give you at this rate, or because they can come up with it, but they'll say, yeah, just pay what the bank's paying. Yeah. Then why wouldn't I just go through the bank? At the end of the day, you get a massive benefit from this. You get 5 years, and because it's not an investment property, I'm saving you a fortune in taxes, a fortune. So both people get to be winners. He gets to be a winner because he's getting constant income. You get to be a winner because it doesn't have to go through your bank. And it technically doesn't count against one of your 10 with Fannie Freddie when you actually do a seller finance deal. It doesn't count against you. So yeah, something worth knowing. I did a seller finance deal. My second deal was a seller finance deal. I paid market rate and I paid more than market value. Ta-da. Yep. I got totally screwed on that deal. And even better, it was with family. I was like 23, 24. I didn't really understand how it worked. So my family kicked my butt. They got a really, really, really awesome deal. It was all fine, whatever. I made plenty of money on the deal. I held it for 17, 16 years. So yeah, I made plenty of money on the deal. But yeah, so I've done a bad seller financing deal. It was me. Flash of light. Good afternoon, Matt. How did you do the debt structure? Or did you do all cash on the 2 full rehabs? Great question, Flash of light. I did a construction loan on both of them. So those deals I went commercial on those deals with my bank. Then did the full on construction loan, which is basically like you get your initial, here's the appraisal as is, here's the appraisal as complete. And then you can kind of back into it and they can say, okay, well, based on the as complete, we'll do a 75% or 70% loan to value on the as complete. You're paying $500K. The as complete is $1 million, but 70% of that. And so we'll give you up to $200,000 to do those projects. That's kind of how that works. Let me know if that makes sense. Robert Farinelli. So when I was talking about the semi-gloss needing 2 coats because I'm painting over the satin, yes, I have experienced that. Oh, I guess I missed some questions. My bad, guys. Sorry about that. Janet Santiago, she appears. Happy Father's Day, Lumberjack. I thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for all your live streams. You're very welcome. I've been very busy with my W-2 job. I understand. I can see we are going to have a customer recession very soon. I was going to ask you about that because I know that you're in retail higher up. And so you must see all those numbers and inventories and what you're having to discount. Man, it's going to be a stressful time. You will do awesome through it. But yeah, oh man, gives me a case of the pukies. LV teach me Ace Hardware is my favorite place to shop. What's really cool about Aces and Aubuchons is that there's usually the guy there or girl there that makes it worth it, right? They know everything. They know where everything is. They know you can find it. Then they don't really attract talent, right? Because the other people, it's just easier to go to Home Depot and blend in. And so that's the biggest talent. That's the biggest problem is that it's usually a pretty significant fall off from that quality of staff. Yeah. Damasta, have you been able to increase rent on existing when a new shiny building has been built next door? Oh yeah. Yep. Yeah. Cost basis, my man. Generally speaking, I'm not saying you're a man. I'm just saying my man. So yeah. So I have a building 1 block away from a place that was put up 2 years ago. And it is the nicest, swankiest, sexiest building this city has ever seen. It's the bomb. It is awesome. And the rents are ridiculous. I love them. They raised all my rents. I love them. I sent them a Christmas card. So excited to have you guys here in the community. Oh man. And I'm not joking. I'm serious. The best, the absolute best. Their 2 bedrooms rent for $24,000 to $3,000 a month. 2 beds. Yeah. Yep. And they don't have many of those 2 beds at that cheap price. That's like they have a few of them, a couple of them. So what I would tell you is, yes, my 2-bedroom rents are 16 to 1800, markedly less than theirs, but my cost basis is probably closer to like 7. Their cost basis is probably closer to like 222. So the lesson here is, I, with my B class property, I don't lose money. I make money even when they're losing. So they won't be able to ever compete with me, ever. And I won't ever compete with them. Like, but finishes wise, I can get pretty darn close. In fact, I am. So I'm actually going to close the gap a little bit more, because I can say, hey, your other option is you can spend $800 more a month and live there. And that's if I'm at 2,000 on their average 2-bedroom, just as an FYI. So I love big, beautiful, wonderful buildings being put in next door, because there's no way they can compete with me with what prices are to build right now, which is $350 or $400 a foot. There is no way they can compete with me price wise. Nope, not even close, which is what makes it awesome. Let's see. Yeah, I have notices companies pushing things you don't need. Yep, the company that installed the boiler was pushing Mitsubishi mini split because they're a diamond vendor. Of course they are. So that's the only sales pitch they know. So typical. Yep. Santi 33143. Hey, how's it going? Hi, my friend. My friend has 1 million in cash, but doesn't have much time. What advice would you give him? I'm rolling through all the sarcastic things that I would say first. This is going to take a bit. I have no idea how to invest. I have no idea how to passively invest money, really, truly passively. So real estate might be quote unquote passive income, but I'm actively investing in the property and management and monitoring of it. So I think if I had that money, I mean, I have a financial advisor. I'm one of his most boring clients because I don't give him very much money to play with. But for him, when I give him a chunk, it's just like, be ultra aggressive. If we win, we win. If we lose, we lose. I literally don't give him anything that, that if it disappeared, like if we hit a home run, awesome. If we strike out, that sucks. Okay. Don't have it be the entire portfolio type of thing. But that's the only thing I can recommend. I don't agree with syndications in this market. I think that there's a lot of people that have already lost money on those syndications. I'm going to be sad to see that happen, because I think a lot of people were sold on the idea that you really can make a lot of money with syndications. And usually the only ones who make a lot of money are the syndicators themselves. I think there's some really good syndicators out there, but even right now, a lot of those deals just don't make sense. And so it won't be necessarily directly their fault when it fails, but it will be somebody's fault. And it will be because the math isn't very good. So yeah, I don't have any other. I mean, the other thing that they could do too is that if they really wanted to get into it, they could be a private lender. But if you want to do zero work or have no time, then you're not, I mean, you got to grow your money like that. That's your job, right? Robert Farinelli, also a furnace company, bushing Linux furnace. I don't know how good they are, but I've seen only one brand perform that is American standard, because their 1940 boiler lasts until now, and a 1976 furnace still kicking. Yeah, I have Will McLean gold, or old Will McLean stuff that was, well taken care of, lasted 40 years, but that was one pipe steam. That's a different thing than the stuff that we're running now. But yeah. Noel Jerez. Thank you very much. You're welcome. Thanks for coming and hanging out with me. Chris Miller, on my most recent purchase, I continue to discover more plumbing problems that inspection didn't catch. The bathtub slowly draining, clogged very often. Turns out the traps are reversed. What the hell? That really blows me. Yeah, I get it. So Chris, one of the bathtub drain pipes are literally built into concrete. We actually have to get through the concrete to fix the problem under the tub. Do you recommend sucking it up and paying the price getting it fixed? Yep, I do. Yeah, I would. Yep, just get it done. Because when the next time, you never know how much bigger that problem is going to be if it starts leaking into the slab. I had a building that we had that was actually leaking into the slab. Guess what we did? We bypassed the slab. He's like, well, we'll have to run up some walls and this, that, and the other. You know what we did? We made them pretty and we boxed them in and then trimmed them out. And the lines, we know where they are now and they're not through the slab. And now we don't have an issue anymore because that thing was running for months and was thousands upon thousands of dollars that the old landlord didn't know about. They also didn't report it when they sold it. Then I found out that that landlord actually had gotten notices from the city. Yep, not very good. So, so yeah, that's what. Yeah, I would bite the bullet, and I would try, and I would bypass through the concrete. Like I would just bypass it and find out a way to, you know, better insulate it without putting it through concrete. Because you need to always be able to get access to stuff, and putting stuff into concrete, unless it's literally your mains coming through your base of your pad. Yeah, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. Yeah. Christopher R. First time listener. Hey, Christopher R. Thanks for coming and hanging out with me. Don't have a 20% down payment. No problem. And trying to save, but will be a long time to get the equity. Okay. Looking at 175K 3-unit. Okay. Are there other ways to purchase? Do you offer consulting? So Christopher, I don't offer consulting, but I will answer questions on Sundays and on topics that we do on my videos during the week. I don't offer consulting now because I have a full-time job and I have a full-time family and a full-time business. So I have 3 full-times. I will, when I drop my full-time job, I might start doing some consulting because I get asked a lot. But I really want to try and help people out for free. And I can't dedicate my time to that because my time is extremely valuable. So is there a way to do that? So you can probably find a 3.5% download. Here's what I would look at. Look at Bank of America. They currently have a $17,500 down payment assistance and closing cost assistance loan product. I don't know if you qualify. You may or you may not. But check out Bank of America on that 17.5 option. Also, talk to, on the FHA side, you can also get down payment assistance. So you could look at that as well. There's income requirements and all that other stuff, but that's what you should look at. That's what you should look at. That's what I would, you know, take a look at and see what, you know, see what works. Let's see. Yeah, getting it fixed. Christopher came from Dion Talk. Cool. I love Dion's crowd. Christopher, look at owner occupied loans. If you can move into one of the units. Yep. You don't need 20% down. That is the simplest way to do it. House hacking. Yep, for sure. So yeah, if you can move into one of the units, awesome. Definitely worth doing. Absolutely. House hack. Look at my video 4-3-2-1 strategy. Take a look at that. If you look at that, that should answer a lot of your questions as opposed to what your options are. And then, like I said, but you can also talk to investor loans for your very first one are tough. So I would strongly recommend to get on the wealth ladder, and to do that, it really comes down to house hacking, and not necessarily having to have roommates in your unit, but just having 2 other people renting out the other 2 units and moving into one of the units yourself. That's what I would recommend for sure. Currently own a home and wife isn't interested in the house hacking, or I would do it. Yeah. Getting investment loans is going to be tough. You're going to be 20% down if you're not going to own a rock. You might still be able to get closing assistance, but I would look at it. It really depends on the market, depends on the bank. But yeah, investing really is investing. And so if that's what you're waiting for, then yeah, usually you gotta get there. I think, yeah, what I would do if I were in your shoes, I would call a lot of brokerage and lay out for them exactly the scenario and tell them what you're trying to do. You're probably going to hear 100 no's if you call 100 people, but you might get one person that says, well, we have this, but now it's even tougher just because of what's going on in the market. But that's what if I were in your shoes, my job would be, if I know I can't house hack and I know I can't make that happen, that's by far the best way to do it. But if I know I can't make that happen, then the next best way to do it is just make sure you find the right lender with the right product that you know you can move with, and see what flexibility they have, what programs they might have. The other thing that you could do too is you can look at Mike's 50-40-10 strategy. That might work as well, where you get more on the seller financing side, then you're only coming with 10% instead of 20%. So there are some options, but admittedly, you're gonna have to do a lot of work if you're not willing to move into it to get your first investment property if you don't have 20% down. Not impossible, just not probable. So you have to do a lot of work to try and figure out if you can find a pocket there. Let's see, hacking out. Chris Miller, you can look into seller financing options. There you go, Chris. Yep. Take the right property and seller motivation. Yep. There are unlimited financing options. That's exactly right. RW2, well, if it isn't Matt the Lumberjack, it is me. Julie Anderson, would you put expansion tanks on new water heaters? They haven't had them. On new water heaters, I don't know. I think it depends on the number of people living in the unit that are going to be drawing on it. I usually buy bigger water heaters too. I don't usually buy like a 30 gallon. At a minimum, it's a 40 and it can be a 60. Really depends on the size of the unit and the number of people more actually living there. And if they have a washer and dryer or a washer specifically and a dishwasher. So that's usually what it comes down to. So yeah, so I think that I would look at that. That's what I would look at is I would talk to a plumber and talk to them about kind of recovery because you can put those tanks in there, those expansion tanks, and they are helpful, but it really depends on the cost because I've seen some of those be kind of exorbitant and expensive. Ryan Allen, if you were getting into a triplex like that and needed to replace the furnace down the road, would you suggest splitting to have tenants pay for their own heat? Yes. So that's what I did in one of my buildings. I'm doing it in this building. So interesting story. It depends. Yes. So here's why it depends. One building, I had each unit, I replaced each unit, but that bill was like $35,000, right? Each unit got its own separate heat. It was easily accessed in the basement. It was existing forced hot water. So it made it very palatable to make that adjustment and make that change. If I had it now with energy costs being what they are, I'm ecstatic that I did it because I don't have any of that exposure to those 4 units. And was I really getting that much of a premium in those units for providing heat? I really wasn't getting that much of a premium. So in that particular case, I separated them. Now, that said, in another case where I knew that those units, because of that specific building, I knew was always going to be a Section 8 building. So because it was always going to be a Section 8 building, I want to put nice product in there, but it didn't make sense to separate the heat and the hot water. And so because I knew it was going to be Section 8, because Section 8 pays what they pay for heat and hot water to be included, it made sense to do one awesome 199,000 BTU IBC boiler, and that's what I put in. That machine runs awesome. It's super high efficient. It's super powerful. It is awesome. And so in that particular case, I didn't separate it out, but the credit portion of Section 8, I want to say it averages out to like $450 a month, I think is what they pay for heat and hot water. And we're about that. And so for me, it's not a loss on that unit, but they use a ton of water, a ton of hot water. So if I had it to do again, I would still probably combine them that way. But I also have them, when they pipe it, I also have them pipe it where I say, if I tell you someday that I want to add this next piece, keep that in mind with how you're piping it now. So we can literally just move a couple pipes and get a second one in there. So I do have them pipe it based on that, and that will save you costs. So yes, I want them paying their own heat because some people are cool with it being 66 degrees in their unit. And I want them to receive the benefit of having a low bill. And some of them want an 80 and they should have the benefit of having a high bill. All right, last couple questions because I'll call it a day. But we'll get through the last few questions. Santi, he got infrastructure to maintain rentals. He wants to do landlord like Three Amigos. Okay. He doesn't have time to study and get into the market to get 15% yields on deals. What type of partner he needs? He needs one that's willing to just have a financial backer. That's what he needs. Yep. So basically buying stuff, getting into it and, you know, refinancing out, maybe making some money on the side. He needs to find somebody that only wants a financial backer, and then just make that deal work. However, there's risk to that, you know, being allergic to not getting in the weeds will always cost you money, you know. But hey, kudos to him. I mean, $1 million, $1 million is $1 million. So that's awesome. But yeah, he likely should be like some sort of financial backer to somebody that, you know, buys rental properties and then we'll fix them up and refinance them. And that way everything's kind of done out of cash as opposed to lending. The problem is that with rates escalating as quickly as they are, it can, as you know, it can quickly turn a pretty good deal into not a pretty good deal. So that can be a difference. Let's see, JT. No, it's not so easy to find off market deals with brokers. I never said it wasn't easy to find off market deals, seller financing deals. I find off market deals all the time. Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's about having a name in the competition. I mean, it depends on how competitive your market is. There's a lot of varying factors. Tons of varying factors, but yeah. And congratulations on getting a bunch of deals. Doesn't mean they're good. There's a bunch of garbage deals that I see come across my desk all the time. I'm not looking for a deal that pays me 6%. I'm looking for a deal that pays me 26%. So those deals are really hard to find. And you usually have to create the value, and you have to create it because the broker selling what they're selling has underestimated what the unearthed value is in the deal. That's why my deals have massive returns. So yeah, finding an off-market deal isn't necessarily difficult, but seller financing a deal is, yeah, I mean, 1 in 30 will say yes, maybe 1 in 40 will say yes. Depends on their position, depends on your position, cash flow, you as a borrower, lots of other things. I'm getting 2K rent per 100K spent all day. Yeah, no offense, but my numbers dwarf yours. I buy cash too. Yeah. Yeah, my numbers dwarf yours, and the I mean, if we want to get into that, yeah, I mean, 117 units, and watch the beginning of the video and you can hear exactly what my returns are. Robert Farinelli, thanks, man. Have a great rest of your day. You too. Why not house hack 2-4, having someone live in the other units, have a roommate in what you're doing. I'm making 2,600 on an 1850 loan. Well worth it if you can. It's exactly right. Absolutely. 100%. Yep. That's it. Like house hacking. Like that's the stuff where you go to sleep and you're making money while you're sleeping. You're not really doing anything, right? That's really passive. Julie Anderson, 1 bedroom, 50 gallon. Yeah, I would ask the plumber, because unless they have like major demands, like need to take a shower and run the dishwasher and doing a load of laundry, like a 50 gallon should probably cover you for that. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Christopher R. Happy Father's Day. You as well. Have dinner with family. Have a great day. Thanks for advice. I'll come back. Cool. Happy to have you. Thanks for asking the question. Ryan Allen, thanks for your insight. It's very helpful. You're welcome. Santi, thanks. You're welcome. Kevin, happy Father's Day to you as well. Robert Farinelli, thanks, man. Have a great rest of your Father's Day. Thanks so much. JT, I mean, I'm spending 500K to get 10K per month total rent. Show me how you beat that. I don't need to show you, dude. You know what? You start a YouTube channel and I'll watch you and I'll listen to what you have to say. You could probably teach me something. maybe you can. But yeah, my bankers pretty consistently say that my risk adjusted returns are the best they ever see. So doing enough to get the next deal, and that's all I really care about. I really don't need to sell people on why you have to listen to me. Don't listen to me. Listen to me. Don't listen to me. These are just stories. These are my experiences. And so if you can glean something from that, awesome. Like if you want to have a, measuring contest, I mean, normally I don't care, but I don't share my numbers. I share my percentages, but I won't share my dollar numbers because people, because I do deals every day. I do deals every week. And so I want people focused on the data that they need, the information that they need that makes them just the slightest bit better at the next deal, creating the next opportunity, landing the next opportunity, getting value out of the next opportunity. That's what I'm most focused on. So yeah, I mean, congratulations on your numbers. Yeah, I'm not sharing numbers. JT, you're the 1,000th person to ask. It ain't happening. Ain't happening. I don't share numbers. I share percentages. That's it. That's it. I spend enough time on YouTube to do this for free. That should tell you. Do the math. 117 units. There you go. What is with some people challenging someone that's trying to help? Yeah, Michelle, it's whatever. It's little man syndrome. It's usually the case. But yeah, it's all good. Like I see it all the time, like see it in my market too. There's investors in my market that I've helped, and there's investors in my market that I will purposefully make sure that I win. There's one that was really obnoxious, really difficult to deal with. They've been up against us in 3 deals in the last year and a half. What's really been awesome is it's given us the opportunity to get better. And so we learned different strategies, we employed different strategies, and they keep on falling up short. And they'll keep on falling up short, which is what I love, because that means I'm winning. And in this particular game, when there's only with that one property, you have to beat somebody in this. So there has to be a winner and there has to be a loser. So I'm all good. Michelle Meyer, enjoy your day. Thanks for the 3 amigos and for sharing your wonderful knowledge. Michelle, I appreciate it. I know that you had something going on with your deal. I hope it came together. I hope that they're ironing that out. But yeah, I won't take that on here, but I'd love to get an update from you. Jay Hayes, you and the 3 amigos are awesome. Hey, thanks so much. I honestly love working with those guys. We've all become good friends. I'll share Matt's numbers. He will make $2 more when he wins the bet and they lose $1. He gets 1. Dion, I'm not sure if Dion heard, but I've got a bet with Mike. The bet with Mike is by 2025 that housing will have gone down 10%, anywhere in that gap. So 10% is my basement. He doesn't think we see even a 10% decline. I think we do. I'm really, really excited to see that one. Yeah, I mean, Dion, I don't know. You might want to jump with me on this bet with him. I'm just saying. Like if he beats us both in those bets, like we have to shut up. We can never talk again. But I think not go down 10% between now and 2025. That is a bold bet that we don't go down 10 points. Yeah. JT, as a short guy, I take offense to that comment. Yeah, I offend people all the time. If it's any consolation, it means you're still not special. Ryan Allen, good one, Dion. Hey guys, thanks so much for hanging out with me. It was a blast. As always, you guys make it fun, make it worth coming here, make it worth doing this. And so I will keep you guys posted, but video this week or next, top 10 products that I use in my business that we've evaluated, we've gone through. Well, when we talk about those products, we will talk about, when we go through those products, I will talk about ones that I have used and didn't go very well. So not just telling you, hey, this is what I use now. It's I tried these others and they didn't work very well. Hopefully it saves you some time. Michelle Meyer, myself failed. Oh, and I am now thinking, I'm not sure why I wanted to sell other than too good to be true and was going to send me into financial independence right away, but looking to do nurse housing. Okay. As mortgage is low. Yeah, absolutely. Traveling nurses. I didn't particularly like it, but I know a lot of people have made that model work. I wasn't thrilled with it. It was too lumpy for me. But I'm in one of those really desirable areas, meaning people hate to come here, but they love to come here because the money's ridiculous. Because in the wintertime, traveling nurses make bank because no one likes to be in the frozen tundra of Siberia, spelled New Hampshire. Chris Miller, bit of a question. Going into my second year of real estate investing, also my second year of cardiac device sales, very new to both, and it's a lot to handle. Yeah, for sure. Who do you work for? Guidant, Medtronic, Apple, somebody else? I feel like when I focus on one, I detract from another. Yep. I'm not confident I have the bandwidth to be great at both. Yep. I'm leaning towards hiring a property manager focusing mainly on the purchase. Yeah, sure. You can do that. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you can do that. I mean, there's nothing wrong with going that route. There really isn't. There really, truly isn't. You know, I can't give you the best advice in that case because I don't have a property manager. But for me, it was, and I get it. Young daughter, same position I'm in, man. I get it. So yeah, that does make it really tough. Yep, allows me to focus on my job. What are your thoughts? Yeah, it makes it tough, man. It really does. The reason I'm getting rid of my W-2 is because now I make a lot more money with my real estate, a lot more money. And I'm paid pretty well as an executive, but I make a lot more money on my real estate, and it gives me the flexibility to be around my kids and do anything that my kids want. Like, not spoil rotten, but like if we want to go on a trip, we can go on a trip. If we want to take a day off and go to the Museum of Science or the aquarium, like we got to do, that's what I want to do with my kids because they're young. My son, I've been very disciplined to, aside from like this Sunday session, it doesn't take any time away from my kids. And that's, I'm a dad. I'm a dad now, and I waited all my life to become a dad. So now I really make sure that's my focus. So I get where you're at. I think what you have to do, or what I would recommend, is just look at what it looks like if you just scale back. If you just scale back a little bit, meaning maybe not trying to grow so fast, trying to do so much, just scale back a little bit. That's what I would take a look at. Biotronic, fastest growing CRM company. Yep. I've doubled the revenue the past 3 months from the former year. Yep. But I've had to drop almost all my real estate focus to do that. Yeah, that's where I totally get it. So Zub and I both lived that. We were both commission sales guys for a long time, and then got into executive management, and that takes up a long time. So that story for you, especially depending on kind of how far you invest from home and how much you want to have your time spent that, taking that away from your wife and your daughter. Yeah, I would absolutely find somebody that fits you and fits the mission. You're going to kiss some frogs before you find a prince of a real estate or of a property manager. But yeah, I think you should investigate it. Worst case is you don't pull the trigger because you don't like something about it. Maybe you get a hybrid version. But yeah, most important thing for us as parents is, okay, we're putting food on the table. Awesome. Just as important is the nurture food, right, that we give them as dads. So I am not hell bent on. That's why I don't have a goal of getting to 200 units or 300 units or X amount of millions of dollars a year. I have no goals like that. So long as I can put food on the table and give them a good life, but don't sacrifice anything from my interaction time with them and spending time with them, a little bit here and there, but not, being a consistent voice and presence in their lives. I can live with being half the size that I could have been. So that's my take on it. So I would definitely reach out to some of those companies, and hopefully that helps you, gives you some clarity. And as a dad, you probably find a newfound peace too, just kind of deep down on the inside, like, okay, this feels better. So I know what you're going through now because it doesn't feel right. And so it'll take some time to adjust and find the solution, but pursuit of that solution is important. Recognizing it is the most important. Pursuit of it is almost as important than that final solution. So Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. All your input. I've had to scale back. Yeah. Been too aggressive towards this financial freedom grind. And I've made some costly mistakes. Yeah. So this is what we talk about, which is slow and steady wins the race. And the guys that are out there that are hyper growth, right? There's some guys out there on bigger pockets that are seriously hyper growth guys. Guess what? They don't have some good debt. They're going to be there's some people, I guarantee you, there's some people on bigger pockets that go boom, boom. And I'm not rooting for that because it's a really painful thing for anybody to go through. But there will be people that were over leveraged, grew too fast, quality then recedes. Then you have tenant occupancy issues. Then you have bank revaluations. I mean, I've seen this all before. That's why for us, it's very slow, steady, boring, consistent. But to your point, yeah, you're doing the right thing. As a great dad, that's what we have to consider, is making sure that we're as present as we can be in our kids' lives, that they have the things that they need, but not only from a physical and financial perspective, but from an emotional perspective too. And so one of the things I'm most proud of is being able to spend time with my kids and teach them these things, because my kids are going to be so much further than I am. And then, you know, Dion and Mike's kids are already grown, but Dion and Mike will be talking to my kids just in case they don't want to listen to dad on something. So yeah, so that's it. So I think that's a great note to end this on Father's Day. I really appreciate y'all. It was a lot of fun. Hit that like button on the way out if you wouldn't mind. Would love for the YouTube algorithm to, you know, pick this thing up and just like I said, help some other folks out, because that's what we do this for. So stay tuned, watch the video this week, and I'll talk to y'all soon. I hope you guys have an awesome, awesome rest of your week. Take care, everybody. Week.